Welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Website. I'm your host, Jason Gracia, and this is a show all about productizing your service. Because you probably got into this for the freedom. Of course, you wanted to do good work and you wanted to help and serve people, but when I got into it, it was about like working for myself and all the good things that came with that. But quickly I realized that was not the case. I didn't have much freedom at all. And so in this podcast, that's what I want to share with you is my entire journey and all the things I've learned about productizing my website service, going from someone who made very little money. The first year full time, I made $26,000. Eventually made millions. And it's because I productized my service and I followed a process that I want to share with you in this show. But how did we get here? That's what I want to talk about in this episode, is the origin story. So I'll take you way back. I started in this world of computers when I can't even remember how young I was. I was young. my dad was into computers, so that was kind of my introduction. I mean, if anyone listening has had some oldies, I had a Commodore 64, I had an Amiga. When I started with computers, you loaded programs through a cassette tape. If anyone knows what a cassette tape is, you would hook up your little cassette player, and that's how you would load programs. So it goes way back. I've always loved tech and computers forever. I mean, I remember when I would get a new computer, like in high school, when I would get a new computer, and I just remember like I got home from school, kind of closed my door, laid everything out. It was like this sacred, special moment. I was so excited and like opening everything slowly and just taking time to admire it. I was that guy. So it's always been there, this love and joy of technology and computers ever since I was young. And then the internet came about. I was, the consumer internet, like America Online. Again, if anyone listening is a little bit older, you probably have those CDs. I got 100 CDs in the mail about America Online and going on the internet. And so I was all in. I mean, I was there for it. So when I first started to learn and realize that I could build something that people could visit on the internet, that blew my mind. So again, my dad was into this because he was a business consultant, and so he knew a lot about the tech and in the kind of the coming of the consumer internet, and he learned how to kind of hand code a website, old school, just like open up a text program and start doing very basic HTML code. And so I started to dabble a little bit, make a box, type a few words, and even that I was even more hooked because it blew my mind that I could type some characters and then it would turn into something. So if you're one of my certified partners in my program, that's who you're dealing with. It's someone who, at a very deep, visceral, in my bones level, I just think this is all magical. I love it. That's why I've done it for 25 years. So fast forward, I'm about to graduate from college. I went to UW-Madison, go Badgers, although I just went to one of the Badger football games a little bit ago with some old college roommates, and not the team I remember. I was very lucky. I got to go during the Ron Dayne years when we won Rose Bowls and Heisman trophies. A little different today, but that's neither here nor there. So I graduated from college, and I went to school for marketing. So I've always been into marketing and business. I was that kid who started when he was 6 years old. I was painting my G.I. Joe figures gold and then going to the neighbors and selling the solid gold edition. Note to younger self, wait till the paint dries because it was running down my hand. And it wasn't the most honest business, but my heart was in the right place. So I graduated from college, degree in marketing, got a job as a marketing manager. But my dad had a website. My stepmom had a website about getting organized. My dad had a website about marketing. Then my older brother starts a website about acting. My other brother starts a website about knife throwing. And as the kid who was like all in on this stuff, I couldn't be left behind. So I built my first public website, and it was about motivation. So I was always growing up, because my dad shared a lot of it. I was into personal development. So Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Brian Tracy. Those are my people. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start a website. Let's do it about a topic I love, and that's how to help people get and stay motivated. So I launched Motivation 123, and that was my first entry into building a real website. So it was all HTML code, my TRs and TDs and all the things. But I went all in. I did my day job where I was the marketing manager, and then at night I was kind of, just picture that, like it's midnight. The rest of the city is quiet and asleep, and I'm hunched over my little laptop at my desk in my apartment building out this website and learning and growing. So the website did really well. I worked on it constantly. It was my passion and my obsession, and it eventually became the biggest motivation website in the world. So we were the #1 ranked website. Didn't matter what you searched in Google, or again, way back then, there was Ask Jeeves, there was Web Crawler, there was Google. And so if you search for motivation tips, motivation articles, employee motivation, I was #1. That brought millions of visitors to the website. I grew a list because I was early to the list building. And so I grew a list of 50, 60, 70,000 subscribers. I also have a story I'll tell you another time where I lost 65,000 subscribers. But again, that's a story for another day. But it did really well. I wrote books. I created courses. I did coaching. This was really like this is when I learned much of what I eventually taught to others, right? I was in it, like deep. I learned everything I could. I mean, believe it or not, I used to, I wrote a book, and then I created an audio version of it, but kind of built it out a little bit so it was a course. But I recorded the audios. I burned the CDs on blank CDs, and then I printed out labels with my computer. I had a printer that could do labels, and then I would hand stamp the labels on the CDs. Like, that's how old school this is. And then I would go to the post office, and I'd put them in a little bubble envelope. But I sold over $1 million worth. So I learned a lot. And I've started that website April 1st, 2001. So it'll be close to 25 years soon. That's when I started. So I got this website, and it works great. The website eventually, like I said, does $1 million. And then I start to share how I did what I did with other people. So I kind of transitioned from the doer to the teacher. And that went well. Things were good. But then, about 15 years into my journey, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so at the time, my wife and I, Megan, greatest, like my partner in crime, best friend, greatest person in the world. And we had been married a year. We had a 4-month-old daughter. And we had recently bought our new home. So life was just starting. It was until June 9th, 2016, everything that we wanted. Everything was just kind of falling into place. But that day is when I got the news from my doctor that I had cancer. And so, as you can imagine, everything kind of flipped upside down. I mean, I know I'm not alone in this. I know that people listening, you have been through it yourself, or you know someone who has, or something similar. You just know that, I mean, it's like an earthquake. There's just devastation. Yesterday, 24 hours ago, life was great. And then all of a sudden, those few words change everything in a moment. I talked to my doctor on a Thursday, and the next Wednesday I was laying on a table getting radiation treatments. So it was It just blew my mind. But I'm doing this podcast now, so things worked out. Caught it early, did chemo and radiation, did major surgery, and so far, good to go. Knock on wood. We're coming up like 10 years. We'll be soon cancer free. So in that process, I kind of everything. I kind of started from scratch because it was just really hard for me to focus on the future and not to just be stuck and feeling trapped and terrified. So Motivation 123 kind of dwindled. I kind of let it go, and teaching people about that, kind of let it go. I was kind of at square one, and I didn't really know what to do. Now it just so happens the medical bills, they don't actually check in with you if you have a plan of action to keep earning money. They kind of just send the bills. And so quickly, and again, anyone who's been through this, like we had insurance, but insurance doesn't cover everything. And so it was tens of thousands of dollars in medical bills. I wasn't bringing in that much income. And so we were in a really bad situation. I felt terrible. I was supposed to be the provider for as a husband and father, and I felt like I was failing the family because I just wasn't bringing in barely anything, hundreds of dollars a month with where I was and what I was going through. Now, of course, everyone says, you had a good excuse, but still, that doesn't take it away. When you're trying to care for other people, it didn't help. So I felt responsible. And I had to figure out something, right? Like there were real stakes here. We were thinking about selling the house. We were thinking about like, what do we do? How do we pay for these medical bills? How do we pay for the surgery? And how do we pay for the medication? And then I got an email that changed everything. Out of the blue, I got an email from a man named Bill Simmons. I haven't talked to Bill in a long, long, long time. And maybe somehow he's listening to this. And if so, Bill, you changed my life. Because Bill Simmons asked me a simple question, which is, do you build websites? He had seen a website that I built for me and asked if I did that for other people. Now, between you and me, no. I was into websites. Like, I loved it, right? That was my thing. I love building websites and doing all the things, but it was for me. They were my websites. I had never thought about building a full website for someone else. I didn't do that. But I did what any father and dad or mother would do in that case. He asks, do you build websites? And I write back, you bet I do. That's what I do, Bill. So I said, absolutely. And it turns out he was a coach. So he was a business coach. And that kind of started my journey on learning all about the coaching website. So I dove in deep. I wanted to knock this out of the park. I felt like this could be my way out. So I learned everything I could. If you can just imagine, like almost thinking like those murder investigations where you got the board with the string and like all the things, the pictures and the notes and the diagrams. That was me. I was studying coaching websites. I was studying because I had a good background in marketing, but I really wanted to dive deep into this specific market. So 1,000 screenshots of other websites of people who I knew it was working for them. Studied everything I read the blogs, watched all the videos, took courses. I dove in deep. I mean, I was trying to save my family. And so I put everything together that I knew how to. And by this time, WordPress was around, thank heavens. And so I built the website. I delivered a bill and I waited. And then I get it back, the response, which was, I love it. It's going to help me help so many more people. And that really struck me because when I did my old work, when I was doing the Motivation 123, I had kind of a direct line to the people I was trying to help. I would write books. I did courses. I did coaching, helping the end user get a result. And I felt like that's the only way. If I want to help people, I have to help the direct people that I'm helping. But then Bill's words changed my mindset, and he helped me realize I could be a springboard. I could help the helpers. If I took my knowledge and my expertise and then used it to help, let's say, coaches, those coaches would go on and change the lives of hundreds and thousands of other people. And that really made a difference for me. And so I realized building websites, even though I might be helping this one person at this one time, if you do it right, that one website can change the lives of many others. So I decided after Bill was happy with the result, I would stick with this. Now, Bill paid me more money than I ever received at a time in my life. I believe it was $3,000. I'm used to selling $20 books, by the way. So this is amazing. Like, I can start to pay our bills. We don't have to sell the house right now, but that's only one client. I got to get a few more. So I just started to do a lot of what I teach my certified partners to do. I did everything I could to get clients. So I did warm outreach. I did cold outreach. I found partners. I did it all, right? I did everything I could, and I started to get clients. But I was building custom websites. So all this time, it was more of the conversation of, what do you need? How do you need it? What do you want it to look like? Okay, I can do that. I took orders. Client number 1, client number 2, by about client number 3, I started to push back a little, because I realized I know a lot about marketing. I know a lot about digital marketing in particular. I have a long history. I built big websites. I know how this works. And so when clients would say, I want this here and this here and this here, I'd start to push back a little and say, well, actually, you want the button here, but here's why. And when I would explain the why, they got it. I realized that if you come with enough certainty, expertise, confidence, know-how, that clients will listen. So I started small. It was very small. I would just push back a little bit. Like, actually, I think you need this page. And actually, I think your homepage, I think this part should go here. And then I think this should go here. Now, some of you might already be there. Some of you, your business might be, no, I educate the client and I walk them through what to do. I was not there. I was pretty much, hey, I'm making money. I can pay some medical bills. I'll do whatever you tell me. But I did start that little pushback. And I got maybe to 10 clients now building coaching websites. I started to realize when I would go through what I recommended for, say, a homepage, there was a certain sequence that I knew worked and that I could show to the client, and they got it. So I said, actually, here are the 6 sections that I recommend in a homepage, and here's the order of those sections. Here's how they should be laid out and why. And they bought in. When they had a good enough reason, they were with me. And so I realized there's something going on here. Instead of starting with clients from absolute scratch every time, instead, I could start to piece together a machine, a proven machine, and then show that machine to them and explain how it works and why it does what it does. And so that's what I did. As I got more clients, I started to present to them what I thought their pages should look like, what pages they should have, what those pages should do, and even the layouts of those pages. Now, at first, some clients, they wanted custom work, and so I gave in a lot more, right? I was like, okay, you got it. You get this, you want this, whatever you need, I'm happy to do it. But then I would get some of these clients who they just said, you're the expert. Sounds great. And so that was my aha moment. I did not have to build custom websites from scratch every time to be valuable. Instead, I could build the website. And then, of course, customize it with their look and their feel, right? Their colors, their fonts, their pictures, their words. That would make it them. But the infrastructure, the architecture, the machine, I only have to build once and then just perfect that. And that was a game changer. That really, that's why I'm talking to you right now as the CEO of a web design company that eventually generated millions. Because that was my big aha. That value didn't come from custom, original. Value came from results. Value came from proven machine. So it's just like if I'm building a car, I'm not going to try and build an engine from scratch using my ideas. Or, even worse, I'm not going to go to someone who wants a car and then they're going to tell me what they think about an engine. What we're going to do is we're going to rely on what we already know is a proven machine and then use that engine to power the vehicle. Now, of course, some of you might think, well, what about electric vehicles? Okay, I got you there. But the point is, what we want to build for our clients is a proven machine that helps them get the results they're after. And the way I describe it to my clients is, we don't want a work of art that's original, custom, never been seen before, because to me, as a marketer, that means unproven, untested. What we want is a proven machine that delivers results predictably. That's what the clients really are after. And so that's what I started to do. I started to productize my website service. So at first, as you know, I did custom websites, whatever you want, I'll do it. Then I started to push back a little, saying, actually, I recommend this, this, this. And then I got to the point where I had all the pages, all the layouts, all the features, all the functions, and I built the site, like the mega site. This is the site from which all other sites will be built. And I changed my offer. Now when I met with clients, I said, what we need from you are colors, fonts, pictures, and words. What we'll provide is the proven system. We already have the pages. We already have them all laid out. We already know exactly how they should look, how they should feel, and how they should function. So you're going to save time, you're going to save energy, and you're going to get something that works. And then you get to lay your pictures, your words, your colors and fonts right on top. It is the best of both worlds. And so that's what I started to sell. Now, today, it's a little fancier. Today, we've got software that helps kind of get the process through much faster. We've got kind of optimizations for every piece of the puzzle so that we can today get a client in and out in a total of 4 to 5 hours for a website that we get paid thousands for. But we do not build anything custom. What they get is the proven machine with their branding laid on top. And it has worked wonders for us. Like I said, I started at $26,000 when I first started building websites, like back in the bill days. $26,000. Can't really pay the bills much, not for a long time with that. But then it grew, 100, I believe we did maybe 153,000 the next year, and then 200, and then 400, 500, 600, and eventually millions. So it all started with Bill asking if I built websites. And then through iterations throughout the years, through almost a 10-year process to get to where the service is completely productized. So today, I will do a sales call. I will close that call. I will hand the project off to a builder, and everything is in SOPs. There's no custom work done. The builder does his job beautifully, puts everything together how I want it, lays the client information on top, and the website's done. Hours. It used to take me weeks and months to build a website. It took forever, back and forth, and tweak this and change this, and the shade of blue, I wanted a little bit different. It drove me crazy. But now it's hours. And so I was able, back then I could take 3 clients over the course of a few months. And today we could take, there's no limit. We could take 20, 30, 40 clients a month. But that's the backstory. That's how we got here. I realized that when I built the website the way I knew it should be built, it didn't start from scratch every time, and that I could build the ultimate website, and that clients would not only agree to it, but they would love it. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients have. And so that is the story of how someone who was close to losing it all was able to build a business that generated millions. And I did it selling the same website hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times to fully satisfied and happy clients. So that's how we got here. That is the journey. It was a 10-year, total of a 25-year journey. But just building kind of the business we have today was a 10-year iteration, kind of finding how can I productize this? How can I take all of these customizations, all of these things where so much time and effort is needed? How can I optimize it, put it into a system? And that's what we've got today. So for my certified partners, that is where this came from. You're going through the process right now. You're kind of building everything out. That's where it came from. I was trying to rescue the family. I started building websites the normal way, custom websites. Took forever, didn't get paid a lot. Super frustrating, super overwhelming, stressful, tension-filled. And then I eventually realized I was selling the wrong thing. I was trying to sell art when I should have been selling results. And that is how I could build one website one time and optimize it and then share that with my clients. So as a partner, you are building the same thing, and it is the most exciting work that I've ever done. If you're not a certified partner, then we welcome you still to stay tuned. I will teach much, much more about how it all came together, the strategies, the stories, the case studies, everything you need to know. And of course, we invite new partners in. Each quarter, we release a few licenses to let new people in, and so stay tuned for that. But now you know the backstory of where Swift Sites came from, and it all started with Bill. So, Bill, if you're out there, thank you so much. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for listening. And I'll be back soon with another episode on how we can productize your website business so you can get more clients, make more money, and enjoy more freedom. Talk to you soon.